Hi there, my name is Adinle Abiodun. I'm a software developer with about 7 years of experience building responsive user interfaces. I'll be talking on a very important concept in front-end development that every front-end engineer should know. Today I'll be talking on responsive web designs. Responsive web designs. So in this video, we are going to take a look at the overview. We'll also talk about responsive and adaptive web designs. We'll take a look at the building blocks and also the common responsive breakpoints. What is responsive web design? Well, responsive design is an approach to web design that takes your web content and adapt it to different screen and window sizes of a variety of devices. So, for example, your content might be separated into different columns on a desktop screen because they are wide enough to accommodate that design. But if you separate your content into multiple columns on a mobile device, it will be hard for the users to read and interact with it. Responsive design makes it possible to deliver multiple separate layouts of your content and design to different devices depending on their screen sizes. So the difference between responsive design and adaptive design is that responsive design adapts to the rendering of a single page version. In contrast, adaptive design delivers multiple completely different versions of the same page. Now let's talk about the building blocks. We have the HTML and the CSS. So the foundation of responsive design is the combination of HTML and CSS, the two languages that control the content and the layout of a page in any given web browser. We also have the media queries, which I'm going to talk about later. We also have the fluid layout. We have the Flexbox layout and also responsive images. Now to media queries. A media query is a fundamental part of CSS3 that lets you render the content to adapt to different factors like the screen size or the screen resolution. So media query works in a similar way to an if clause in some programming languages, basically checking if the screen viewport is wide enough or too wide before executing the appropriate code. An example on the screen is a media query with at least 780 pixel wide. Full width image class will take up to 90% of the screen and automatically center by equally wide margins. Next is fluid layout. So a fluid layout is an essential part of modern responsive design. In the good old days, you would set the static value of every HTML element like 600 pixel, 500 pixel, and so on. But the fluid layout relies instead on a dynamic value such as the percentage of the viewport width. This approach will dynamically increase or decrease the different container element sizes based on the size of the screen. Flexbox layout. While a percentage-based layout is fluid, many designers and web developers felt it was not dynamic or flexible enough. So Flexbox is a CSS model designed as a more efficient way to lay out multiple elements, even when the sizes of the content inside the container is unknown. So a flex container expands items to fill available free spaces or shrink them to prevent an overflow. These flex containers have a number of unique properties like justified content that you can edit with a regular HTML element. Responsive images. So the most basic iteration of responsive images follow the same concept as fluid layout, using a dynamic unit to control the width or the height. To serve different versions scaled for different devices, you need to use the HTML src set attributes in your image tags to identify more than one image sizes to choose from. So let's go to common responsive breakpoints. To work with media queries, you need to decide on the responsive breakpoint or the screen size breakpoint. So a breakpoint is the width of a screen where you use a media query to implement a new CSS. Thank you.